So let's take a quick look at the Beehiiv Design Lab. This is what's going to allow you to create all like the newsletter designs. So you can do this in a separate section and then go back and create your newsletter ultimately. If you'd like to follow along or maybe you haven't gotten to test out Beehiiv, I will leave my affiliate link down below where you can get a free trial or simply use it for easier access. So what you want to do when you're on your main dashboard, if you scroll down to the left, there's going to be a settings section. This is where I am now. From here, if we look, there's going to be a design lab section. Let's simply click on this and this is where we need to be. All right, so as you can see here, if I click on this little caret here, there's going to be plenty of sections that we can change around. Ultimately, I have already gone through and kind of edited it towards my liking. The spacing in terms of the text, how everything looks, the font size. You'll notice like the H1's the biggest, then it gets a little bit smaller, then a little bit, I guess those are kind of, a little bit smaller as well. So this is what's going to allow you to pretty much just change around all of the design aspects. Keep in mind, all this stuff is just examples. Anytime you go to create your newsletter, it doesn't have to look like this. It's just showing like, here's an H1 and what it's going to look like, how big it's going to be, the text, the color, the size. Here's the text and how close it's going to be, how much spacing is in between, because you can change any of this stuff in here. Starting off with the background, probably not a whole lot you're going to want to change here, but like, if you have a corner radius and you are using an outside background or a post background in terms of spacing, I don't mess around too much with that. It's mostly going to be about like tweaking it, making changes and see what you like. So body text, I like Helvetica, but if we wanted to change it to this, you'll notice we have something different. I do not like that. So let's go back to Helvetica, but Georgia is pretty cool just to kind of show you an example, and you'll notice it'll change with it, which is great. So Helvetica is great. Line height, we have normal. Like if you're not sure what it is, like some of these you might not be able to tell too much. Obviously that made it much smaller, a little bit more compact. I don't like that as much, so we can do normal. You can also do a little bit more if needed. So we have our font size, the space between paragraphs. I like that it's not too close and not too far away. Inline hyperlinks. So from this, you can automatically have them be underlined. You can do them bold if you want to. Okay, where they're a little bit bolder. You can do them italics. Okay, and undo. I like underline. This looks exactly like a link. People are so conditioned to click on blue links, so I think it's a good idea to keep it that way unless you have like a black background. Unless you have like a blue background and it doesn't stick out. Anyway, I think that looks good how it is. So I'm not going to change around too much. It's kind of just like showing you. So we have header text with our heading right here, our font size. So if I make this really big, we have bigger, right? I think it was at 28. So let's keep it like that. All right, so that means anytime you create a header 1 in your actual newsletter, it's going to be this font family, this font weight, this line height, and so on and so forth. We have our space between elements, which is going to be 3 pixels. If we want to do more, much bigger, right? So once again, up to you. I wouldn't spend too much time on this. I know like a lot of times, anytime you want to create a newsletter, it has to be perfect. Getting it done is definitely better than perfect, of course. We have our header color, and that's going to be repeated through a few headers. Oops, I don't know why I did that. But if you'll scroll down, that's header 1. Same thing, header 2. We have header 3. We have header 4. And if you'll scroll down, you can see the examples of header 4s. We have header 5. And I think heading 6 is the last one. Okay, so if we scroll back up, next we have our email header. Okay, if we want to change that around, like let's see, we want to do Helvetica as well. There we go. That just changed. So we have a similar one. I think I'll keep that. That looks good. Font size. A lot of this is going to be business as usual. Like once you do a few of these, we have our email footer. Once again, this is Verdana. We could change that to Helvetica. A lot of these things aren't going to make a huge deal. Like maybe the background color. I chose blue because it's more of like a tropical vibe with like gold for, gold and treasure. That's kind of like the theme of mine is tropicalness, oceans, beaches, maybe some boat stuff. I get silly every now and then with like pirates and whatever else, but buttons, in case you want to add some buttons, what's going to be their font family. You'll notice a lot of this is just very similar over and over. So we have content breaks. This is a good one. So with overall, like how long do you want it to be? So it's at 93. Let's just make it smaller. And you'll notice right here, here's the content break. So I use these a lot. I think these dividers look great. It's a nice little, obviously a content break just to pretty much say what it is. But let's go back to, oops, that was not the right one I had. That was like 30-ish or something. Sure. Here we go. Let's go with 93, something like that. Okay. Much better. So it's just about lined up where everything needs to go. So we have images, okay? So vertical spacing, we have an image right here. Horizontal spacing, our text alignment. We have font family and font color, and looks pretty good, right? We have lists. So if you're doing lists, you can scroll down like a bullet list, exactly what I was going to say. So I think there are some right, did I miss it? Okay, right there. We have a disk, we have circle. Okay, just a circle, and we have square. All right, so disk looks fine, right? List, then of course, we have block quotes, variant 1. In case you want to change this around, we have some quotes right there. Okay, and once again, it's like variant 1, variant 2, variant 3, and of course, we have embeds last but not least. In case you want to change that around, in case you use one of those, hide title, link description, link URL. So overall, like I said, this is just going to be the overall, like the text, the font, the colors. The actual email newsletter that you're going to be using isn't in here. I remember when I first got this, I'm like, wait, so this is the editor, right? It kind of is. This isn't where you add the actual real text. It's just showing you like all of these specific things that you can utilize and how they're going to be set up in terms of how big they are, how small they are, their color, the space between other settings, and so on and so forth. So overall, that's a very quick overview of the Beehiiv Design Lab. Like I said, you're going to utilize this so that like when you go to actually create your newsletter, everything has the right colors, the text, the font, the spacings, everything I just said recently. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you kind of want to model what I did, I model another popular newsletter that Beehiiv did a tutorial about. So that's where I'm getting mine. And I changed around some of the fonts as well, just because, like I said, mine's more of a tropical vibe with Marketing Island. So that's why I get some of the colors there. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. And this helped you out, please give the video a thumbs up, as it really helps me out and I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.